Miss Walker, you're a mom, so you're gonna experience a lot of what your mama has experienced. And if you,
No, I'm not.
listen to me. If
Oh
you
my
allow
God, I'm
your
not
child
here
to
for
treat
that.
you,
It's not. That's not even
ma'am,
the stuff happen with
you're
parents.
here for
So it's
whatever
like
Miss
I say
Walker.
I'm
you're
not trying
here
to really
for.
hear that. I'm trying to hear
All right,
myself,
I'm
my
not
thinking.
Miss
accepting the
Walker.
plea. I'm not accepting the plea. She's gonna do jail time. If she takes a plea before me, she's gonna do jail time.
What do you mean? Because it's like you telling me
If
I'm a mom
she,
and it
you
didn't.
keep talking,
Miss
you're
Tremaine,
gonna
Walker.
do
Tremaine,
more jail
listen,
I didn't
time.
even
Tremaine,
get to say my
listen, just
side, and
listen,
it just
Tremaine.
Contempt.
happened.
Tremaine, ma'am, please.
Miss
Give
Val,
me,
Miss Camille, I need a contempt order, 20 days.
You going to jail. You're going to jail.
Today we have a case of a 21-year-old single mother, extremely unruly, very disrespectful to her mother. She put hands on her mama and stole her mama's car. That's why they're in court today. And when the judge was about to accept a plea deal and give her a break, she continued to show her stubbornness like a fool, ended up disrespecting the judge in court, and it all went downhill from there. We're going to get into it, but first, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. Won't waste any time, let's jump into it.
Before I speak and before they give me the recommendation, does your daughter have any documented mental health issues or behavioral health issues? You have to unmute.
I'm sorry. No, when she was in school, when she was placed on IEP in school, they had her on a behavioral plan as well. But outside of that, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. John VA, recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor, the state was recommending 12 months to serve 2 days, credit for the time that she's already served, the balance to be probated with a fine of $300, family violence intervention program, 40 hours of community service, and no contact with the victim, Ms. Trimble. Counts 2, 3, and 4 would merge. Count 5 would be 12 months probation to run concurrent with count 1, plus any restitution that the victim was requesting. But I believe I understand that she's not requesting any restitution.
Okay. How old is Ms. Walker? How old are you?
21.
All right, Ms. Trimble, where's Ms. Walker living now?
She lives 3 hours away from me
Okay,
in
good.
Atlanta. I live in Pooler.
Okay.
However, yesterday when I had spoke with the victim advocate, because she had asked me if I had wanted no contact, and I told her that's not what I wanted. I wanted to have contact because she has a son that I do have a relationship with, that I would like to remain in contact with. So the no contact part, um I if if my opinion matters in that part, the no contact part, I didn't want. I wanted to remain. I wanted to have contact because we haven't had an incident with each other since that day.
All right, Ms. Walker, I'm gonna hear from your attorney, and then we're gonna have a conversation. Mr. White.
Okay.
Your Honor, I just ask you accept the plea, Your Honor.
Her attorney is like, I have nothing to say, please just accept this plea. And the judge was about to do it. The judge accepting the plea would mean no jail time for her, a couple of classes, no more than a year on probation, and no restitution because the victim, her mother, isn't requesting it. But just see where her nasty, defiant attitude took her.
Ms. Walker, you're a mom, so you're gonna experience a lot of what your mama has experienced. And
No, I'm not.
listen to me. If you
Oh my
allow
God,
your
I'm not
child
here
to
for
treat
that.
you,
It's not. That's not even.
ma'am,
The stuff happen with
you're
parents.
here
So
for
it's
whatever
like
Ms.
I
Walker.
say
I'm
you're
not
here
trying to really
for.
hear that. I'm trying to hear
All right,
myself,
I'm
my
not
thinking.
Ms.
accepting the
Walker.
plea. I'm not accepting the plea. She's gonna do jail time. If she takes a plea before me, she's gonna do jail time.
What do you mean? Because it's like you telling me
If
I'm a mom and it
you keep
didn't.
talking,
Miss
you're
Tremaine,
gonna
Walker.
do
Tremaine,
more jail
listen,
I didn't
time.
even
Tremaine,
get to say my
listen, just
side, and
listen,
it just
Tremaine.
Contempt.
happened.
Tremaine, ma'am, please.
Miss
Give
Val,
me,
Miss Camille, I need a contempt order, 20 days.
20
oh my
days
God.
for what?
Charmaine, just be quiet. This is what
I'm
everybody be
trying
talking to
to.
you
Like, I'm
about.
coming.
Just be
Okay.
quiet. Just listen to her and be quiet. Just be quiet. You're never going to like anything that everybody says to you. It doesn't matter.
No,
Just
she
be
grown,
quiet
Miss
and
Trouble.
listen.
See, she grown. No, see, she gonna learn because she
I
out here a
did
single
learn. I'm
mama.
not. I'm trying to tell you my side
Miss
of the
Walker, you got
story.
your 20
She's
days, so
not
you just
asking you.
quiet
She's
for a
not
minute.
asking you for your side of the story. She's just asking for you to listen. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back on mute. I can't hear.
She about to get 20 days for direct contempt before the court, and this is why you're having the problems that you're having, because she thinks she's grown and that she doesn't have to be responsible to anybody. But I will
did say I
tell
had to be
you
responsible.
that
I took
anybody who attacks their mother, takes their car, and then thinks that they don't have to listen to a judge who's trying to put them on the right path, that's a problem. She ain't even good. She ain't even fit to be out here in polite society. I don't want her walking around because she's a danger to others. I don't even think she should have her child. Because if she doesn't know how to act for somebody to benefit her, she can't be a good mom. And I'm just going to say it. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, so she signed off? Bench warrant. Get it for me. I'm not playing today. She going to learn today.
All right. You gonna learn today.
If she can't control herself enough to listen while somebody is trying to talk about the behavior that got her before a judge and 2 days in jail, that's a problem for me. Because what I believe is this little sentence here, she's going to be a problem for probation. I'm not trying to give probation officers a problem. They got enough. So she's not probation eligible. Whatever sentence y'all come up with when she comes back the next time after this bench warrant, it's not going to be probation.
I'm sorry, Jess, because I wasn't trying to get in the way of
it's not
what you were saying. I was just telling her to be. I was just trying to tell her to be quiet. I get it. I was just trying to tell her to be quiet.
As a mother, you're trying to save her from herself, but obviously that's not possible. But what she's not going to do is disrespect me or the process. It's not even about me, but it's about the fact that I sit in this role and I have a job to do, and she's not going to have a tantrum on this. She's not. No, ma'am. So there's going to be a bench warrant issued for her. She'll be picked up. You might want to put your name out there to take her child. And the next recommendation is either going to be a trial or she's going to take a plea with jail time, because I'm not satisfied with her being on probation. I don't believe she's probation eligible.
And see, this is what happens when you allow your kids to grow up and you never hold them accountable, when you allow women to get away with things and never hold them accountable. Obviously, she's been getting away with these temper tantrums her whole life. Her mother allowing her to get away with it and always being there as her defense force. But this time, her mother was pushed into holding her daughter accountable when she flipped on her, put hands on her, stole her car, ended up in jail for 2 days before being able to bail out. And her mother wanted her to be held accountable, but she still wanted them to go light on her. And that's what was about to happen. She was about to get 1 year probation. The problem is, she still hadn't learned her lesson, and that bad behavior that she used to give off to her mother, she came mouthing off at the judge with it. And that's where she messed up.
I'm not going to put that on a probation officer. Because that kind of attitude, I get paid enough to deal with it. They do not. And if I'm not going to deal with it, I'm surely not going to put it on them. No, ma'am. So after she finished having her little tantrum, then she can figure out that I'm not playing.
Your Honor, she is back on.
My phone died.
If you believe she's telling the truth and her phone died, drop a check mark below in the comments. If you believe she's lying, give me the Pinocchio emoji below. After a couple of minutes and realizing that she wasn't talking to her mama, she was talking to an actual judge, she made her way back to the Zoom and said her phone died.
Mr. White, you may need to step into a breakout room and explain to her what she needs to do in order for me to undo what I'm about to do.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because she's been held in direct contempt of the court.
If she can, because like I said, I'm not trying to step in the way of.
Mr. White, can I go into a breakout room with you?
Yes.
She's gonna put you in a breakout room. I'm not trying to step in the way of.
I get it, Ms. Walker, and I get what you're doing. Please don't misunderstand. I'm a mom.
I'm not trying to step. I'm not trying to step in that way. You're right. And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
step in the way of that. I'm not trying to step in the way of that. But it's like, when when it comes down to her child, like I try to
I
be
get you.
supportive, and I try to, and
The
sometimes she
problem
can't.
is, Miss Tremble, is she's raising
Sometimes
a
she can't get it
child,
right. It
and if
is, and sometimes she can't get it right, and sometimes this happens, and
this is
she
the
has the
problem.
potential. She has the potential to get it right. And like I said, that's why I moved. That's why I had moved, 3 hours away, just so I wouldn't be the support system or the go-to support system. Because even when I do have him, sometimes, like I can tell when he misses his mom. Um, I don't know. I've tried. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a parent, I've tried.
You didn't try hard enough, and right now you're still running interference with all these tears. Where is her dad? Why and how did she get raised the way that she got raised? And then with this grandbaby, the judge is saying this woman is unfit to be a parent. You're also stepping in the way of that. Where is the boy's father? Did she run him away too? Because with this attitude, she can't get along with anybody. Nobody is gonna sit around and put up with this foolishness. Nobody but her mama. If she's talking like this to a judge, how do you think she's talking to her mama? And if she's talking to her mama like that, how do you think she is in a relationship?
And
Miss
I
Tremble,
don't want to see her. I don't
she's
want
an
to see her.
adult now, though.
I
She's an
know.
adult, and I get everything that you're saying. But she's an adult, and she has to face some harsh consequences. The
I get it.
consequences being that if you act up like this, your child suffers. You might suffer a little
Right.
bit, but your child is going to suffer a lot. That's the point I'm trying to make to her. Before she popped
Right.
off, that was the point
Right.
I'm trying to make for her. It is not
And that's
about
what.
you anymore. It is about
Right.
that little boy that you brought into this world that didn't ask to be
Right.
here, but he needs stability. He needs somebody who's going to be responsible. He needs somebody who's not going to have a tantrum that's going to take them
Right.
away from him, where she has to do time while he's out there swinging in the wind. That's the point I was trying to
Right.
make to her
And
before
I
she
and I
lost
know
it.
that. And I know that. And that's what we try to tell her about. And it's like, and I tell her, a lot of stuff can be solved if you just shut your mouth. Because you don't have to say everything that comes to mind. There's stuff that I want to say that comes to mind, but I'm also old enough to know that not everything needs to be said. And that's what I was trying to say to her. I wasn't trying to get in the way of,
No, ma'am,
you
I
know,
get you. I
yeah,
get you.
that's all that I was trying to say to her.
You were trying to
Because
save her from herself, but I get
right,
it. But Mr.
right.
White knows me, and he knows how I work. When she comes back, she'll be right. We're gonna
So
work all of
she,
this out. Mr. White,
Your Honor, I believe Miss Walker has something she wishes to say to you.
Miss
I
Walker,
apologize.
Miss Walker, you will find that life will be very, very hard when you go forward the way that you're going. I know, I know you don't think that because you feel like you know everything at this point and you need to say everything that comes out of your mouth. But I'm a whole judge and I don't get to say everything that comes into my head. I really don't. I have to censor myself so hard sometimes it's not even funny. Um, because there's a time and a place to say things. And sometimes when you're so busy talking, you're going to miss that nugget of information you need to get something better for yourself because you think you know everything. But there are people who have already walked the path that you're walking, and they can give you a little bit of help or give you a shortcut, save you a little bit of hurt or time or energy, but you're not going to get that because you're so busy popping off at the mouth. First of all, it's rude. Second of all, you're raising a whole son. And if that's the way you're going to treat him, how to treat you, that's the way you're going to treat your mother, that's exactly how he's going to treat you. That is exactly what you're going to get back from him. Because that's what you're telling him. This is how we treat mamas. This is how we treat our mother. So you're going to raise a child who, instead of going out to conquer the world and getting better than you could ever imagine for him, he's going to be in an orange jumpsuit right about the time I'm ready to retire. Because you're the example he'll be following.
That and because most men incarcerated today came up in a single parent household led by their mothers. And almost all juvenile delinquents come from single parent homes led by their mothers. It's not just a stat, it's a reason behind that. There is no order, no structure, no discipline. She's this way herself because her mama didn't know what to do with her after failing to hold her accountable and failing to establish order and discipline in her as a child.
You don't have a car. You need to use your mama's car. But instead of going at it with an approach that says, hey, mom, I appreciate you letting me use your car, a very valuable asset that if something happens to her car, she may lose her job. You could lose your job and your place to stay if you don't have a car. But instead of saying, hey, mom, thank you for letting me use your car. I'm going to need to use it again. So I put gas in it. I made sure I didn't leave any junk in it. I want to show you appreciation for letting me use something that's very important to you. But instead, you abused it the first time. And then when she says, no, you can't use it this time, then you go berserk and spend 2 days in jail, leaving your child without a mama. Which seems to be easy for you because there is no decision I would make that would ever knowingly leave my child without me. I ain't going to jail for nobody because my children aren't going to be sitting there wondering where I am. And you think, oh, well, they don't know. Kids know. I don't care how small your son is. He knows there's a disruption in his atmosphere. He knows if there's anger. He knows if there's an issue pending where you're not doing well, or his grandmother's not doing well, or he's not doing well, because the force around him has changed. And so if you're going to be the kind of mama that raises a child who's going to go out and conquer the world instead of being beaten down by the world, then every once in a while, all of that talk, you're going to have to pull that way back. You're going to have to be a little bit humble. Trust me. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I sit in this position, but I realize that it is not a position of power for me to abuse. So if somebody steps in front of me in the grocery store, you know what I do? I move back so they can get their grocery cart in front of me. Do I challenge them? No. Because why? What do I gain from it? Got a whole lot to lose. When you realize what you have to lose by all that popping off at the mouth, when it becomes cognizant to you that by doing that, I threaten the welfare and safety of my son, I leave him without a mama. Man, these streets too wild for the stuff you trying to pull. You pulling it on your mama, but pull that out in the street. I watched somebody pull a gun and put it to a FedEx driver's head in traffic due to a traffic offense. People shooting each other for cutting them off in traffic, popping off at the mouth. You might want to regulate that because it's happening daily. So when you think, I don't want to hear all this, maybe it's something you need to hear. Maybe it's something you need to hear. Because the last thing you want is something to happen to you and your mama has to raise a child that she didn't ask to even have. I know she loves her grandbaby. That's why she's crying. Because she knows you grown, but she loves that grandbaby. But she shouldn't have to raise them because you do something stupid. I talked to way too many grandmothers who, instead of living their lives, going on cruises, hanging out with their girls, living the best life that they can live after they have worked all these years and raised their kids, now they're stuck raising grandchildren because their children didn't know how to act. And you are the very example of that. So I'm sorry you don't want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you, I feel like this is my job. Because I feel like I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to the mother of that child who, when you mess up, you leave him abandoned. When you mess up, you don't know who's taking care of him. When you mess up, then that baby's out there wondering where his mama is.
I'm glad her attorney talked some sense into her to sit there and listen to the judge because she did need this conversation. But I will say this. Why is it that they always have these conversations as if there's no father willing to have his child? And the only possible person there is the same person who raised this problem that you're looking at right now. Raising these kids in homes without their mothers and fathers together, this is how you create this dysfunction. And in my opinion, if she's not held accountable today with real consequences, it's going to continue.
Are we clear?
Yes.
And I really don't think you're a good candidate for probation. Because if you're going to pop off like that to me, I don't want to put you on probation and have some poor probation officer who has way too many cases already having to deal with your attitude because you don't feel like doing what I told you to do. Probation is a privilege. It means I am keeping track of you, but I'm allowing you to be on the outside because you can still live your life, as opposed to what I really can do, which is put you in jail until I'm satisfied and then let you out and be done with the case. I don't have to worry about somebody having to monitor you. I don't have to worry about somebody having to deal with your attitude or your bad day. Because no matter what day I have, I don't bring it to work. Nobody deserves my bad day. And nobody deserves yours. Nobody did it but you. Every decision you make contributes to whether you have a good day or a bad day. But that ain't nobody else's fault.
Exactly.
Everything that happened between you and your mother was choices you made. That's nobody else's fault, not mine or anybody else's. And I'll be doggone if I'm going to sit here and listen to you flip off at me like I'm the problem, like I'm the reason you're here. Personal responsibility. Once you start realizing that the choices you make are why you end up where you end up, then you'll make better choices so you can end up in a better place. I'm so clear on that. I see it all day, every day. I recognize it in myself. When you make better choices, you end up in a better place. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all that popping off at the mouth at 20 years old, like you got the wisdom of somebody who has lived, you barely there. You are barely there.
My thing is, they're grown. They don't want to listen to wise counsel. Okay, let them be grown and handle these grown consequences on their own. Mama can't stand in the way. When you do that, you're enabling them. On top of that, this is a grown woman. The whole coddling phase was for a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, not a 21-year-old. She's not a baby. She had a baby.
You don't even know. And if you continue along this path, you don't even know what's coming at you. You're barely there. So I suggest, for the strong support that your mother is to you, I suggest that you not abuse her. Because she actually wants to have no violent or harassing contact with you instead of no contact. And you know what? No contact would hurt her heart because she loves her grandbaby. But no contact would devastate you because you're going to need her. In the next 12 months, you're going to need your mama. I know it. I can predict it. I can already tell. You're going to need her more than she needs you. She's trying to save you. But I'm thinking maybe if I did no contact, that would give her a break. She wouldn't have to worry about sending you no money. She wouldn't have to worry about no panic call. She wouldn't have to worry about you coming back to show up to leave the child with her because you got something to do and you don't have nobody to keep your baby. She wouldn't have to worry about any of that. She could go to the gym and work out. She could sleep late on Saturdays and Sundays. She could go and do things for herself. That money that she would be sending you, she could go on a cruise. She could do all of those things for herself instead of worrying about you for the next 12 months. That would be a vacation for her.
Okay.
All right. You're going to learn. You still in that little mode of my little feelings hurt, so I got to show everybody this ain't hurting me. But you're going to learn. All right. I still don't feel like she's a probation candidate. I really don't. And a probation candidate, I mean, like, is she live in Clayton County?
From my understanding, she does.
You what?
Does not, Your Honor.
Where she live?
Ms. Walker.
So then I'm gonna have issues where she can't get to court because she don't have transportation and she got a baby.
I do
She's gonna
have
be telling up. All right, then I better never hear that as an excuse. Miss Chang, whoever's the probation officer who supervises her, yeah, I better never hear that as an excuse. We're clear? Miss Walker, I will accept, because they direct us in judge school to always give you an opportunity to apologize when you have been contemptuous in court. Instead of giving you that straight 20 days, I could give you the opportunity to apologize. You have come back and apologized. I still don't think you mean it, but I'm gonna let you have that. But you're gonna do this. I still don't feel like you're a probation candidate, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it, and only for your mama interceding on your behalf. If it wasn't for your mama, you'd be going back to jail. But yeah, I'm gonna try it. But the first mess up, all of this is gonna come back. First mess up, first probation revocation, first time you come back before me, all of this is gonna come back to my mind. It is. So I'm going to accept your plea of guilty to counts 1 and 5. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 2 days. Balance credit for time served. Balance will be probated for you to pay a fine in the amount of $300. That's going to be $444 with the surcharges. So that's the total. You're to take a family violence intervention program course. That's 24 sessions. And you have to attend all 24 sessions. If you miss more than 3, they'll make you start the class all over again. And you have to be able to finish all 24 sessions within the 12 months. You'll do 40 hours of community service. You'll have no violent or harassing contact with Miss Dominique Tremble. And the only reason that's there is because she loves her grandbaby, and that's my gift to her for putting up with your foolishness. Counts 2, 3, and 4 will merge with count 1. Count 5 will be 12 months probation to run concurrent with count 1, and no violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. All right. So now, Miss Walker, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with the probation intake expert. Miss Chang, who is now doing intake? Is Mr. Carmichael still doing intake until a certain date? Mr. Carmichael, you still doing intake until a certain date?
I'm still here, Your Honor. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Carmichael. I knew y'all weren't going to leave me by myself. All right. So, Ms. Walker, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mr. Carmichael. Now, I want you to, where'd she go?
He's still on the Zoom, Your Honor.
I want you to ask him all the questions that you need to ask him that involve your situation. So if you got a job that you work crazy hours, ask about those things so that he can give you instructions as to all of those things. And the best way to get rearrested is to not show up for probation. So please make sure that you attend all of your probation reports as directed. If there's trouble doing any of the other things with probation, share that with your probation officer. All right. So let's see. Did she go into the breakout room? Bless her heart. I'm gonna pray for you, Miss Tremble, that you don't have to end up raising your grandson and that things work out better.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
How many of you think that she learned her lesson? How many of you think that she'll be back before the judge again? Will she be able to last 1 year on probation with no issues? And how many of you want to bet that she will lay down again and hop up with another baby? And I'm telling you, she will always be single. No man of quality will put up with this behavior. She'll have 2 babies, 2 baby daddies, and she'll have to do it alone because nobody's going to put up with this attitude. Nobody but her mama. And that's the best case scenario because women like this, they don't necessarily end up behind bars. They end up in the grave after crossing somebody crazy in the streets or after hooking up with a pookie because that's all that'll take them, and then trying to run that same attitude on him that she's used to running on her mama. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Let me know what you think about this below. Thank you to Havelock, Judah Zion, Dark Power, Rob P, Felix, and Orlando. I appreciate all of you for your support. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.